Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. And today, four great decks, including a breakdown of today's Spotlight caches, which include the brand new card Aries. So let's begin, however, with a meta deck. This one got sent to me like a million times in a row. This list is absolutely incredible. A ton of people are playing it all of a sudden. It is incredibly strong and going to be very, very popular because it just sort of answers a lot of the ongoing meta, a lot of the Mobius stuff that's floating around, a lot of the Victoria Hand stuff that's floating around, a lot of the Iron Man that's still around. All of these cards are absolutely destroyed by Enchantress, and in return, you just put out a ton of big power. This list is it is genuinely absolutely kicking butt right now. We'll get to its stats momentarily. So I was told Shuri and Jory made it, but it turns out this is a Derek brew. Derek is currently ranked number 3 on the Infinite Leaderboard with this very list. The only high series card you really need here, I think, is Gladiator. Malekith can be Shuri or Typhoid Mary. I know some people are running Typhoid Mary. Hydra Bob can be Armor or Shadow King, and I know that some people, for example Prodigy, are running Zabu in that spot. Red Guardian can be Rogue, and Iron Patriot can be Mirage. Iron Patriot's actually the hardest to replace here. This list is amazing at getting its Iron Patriot off. So in 74 games, when I pulled stats, it said a 74% win rate and a 1.43 cube rate. I don't know what else to say. That's through the roof. That's insane. So turn one, you want Bob. You'll zero only if you're ridiculously sure you're going to lizard. I'm not sure how you'd be that sure you're going to lizard, but if for some reason you're damn sure you're lizarding, you can drop a zero. Turn 2, Iron Patriot is your goal. You can play Zero and Maw, or you can drop Lizard. Turn 3, Gladiator or Sauron. Juggernaut if you must for Iron Patriot, and you can just drop earlier plays otherwise, right? Like if you're trying to get that Iron Patriot off, you don't have to drop a Juggernaut. You can drop an Ebony Maw and a Zero. You can drop an Ebony Maw and a Lizard in that lane, for example, to try and get that off. Sauron is very important and damn near snap condition in this deck, though. Not having to worry about your Lizard going lower, your Ebony Maw being a 1/7, and your Red Skull being just huge are really big here. Turn 4, you want Malekith over the 3 drops. Malekith is great. And I just want to do, wrong way. I just want to do a quick note. Malekith is at worst in this list a 4/9. He's playing for 4/9 in stats. Zero and Iron Patriot are sort of your fail state pulls here, but almost everything else is at least decent. Red Guardian's going to play for a 4/10. Hydra Bob's going to play for, 4/11. Hydra Bob's going to play for 4/11, etc. It ends up working out amazingly here. Turn 5, you generally speaking want to play Red Skull. As a general rule, you can play other stuff too. You can play earlier stuff if you need to, like a Gladiator and 2-drop is fine. And then turn 6 is Enchantress or Juggernaut, and then whatever other cards you can. Ideally, you're dropping Ebony Maw and a 2-drop or something along those lines now. This is going to be a meta list. You saw those stats. Derek lists always end up all over the place. Get in on this on the ground floor. If it wasn't a new card day, this is the type of deck that becomes the lead for a video that we build everything around. But we're bringing it to you nice and early because I don't think we can wait an extra day to get this in your hands. Speaking of, if you want the best decks faster than anyone, please hit that sub button. Bottom right of the screen, you should see a little red YouTube button. If you click that, you're subscribed. In return, we'll give you at least 7 days a week of Marvel Snap videos, but who are we kidding? We do 8 almost every week. This week with the OTA coming Thursday, we'll be doing 8. We will also be getting compensation later this week, and I'm going to do yet another deep dive into what you should use that compensation on, what the best, most efficient way of using that to progress your collection will be. So we've got a ton of great content coming for you. If you want that Marvel Snap content, hit that sub button, liking and commenting, help out too as we try to hit 25,000 subs in 2025. We are also giving away our last Iron Patriot this week. Iron Patriot is one of the best cards in the game. Period. You also get a free Series 4 card, dock in with that Iron Patriot once you buy Iron Patriot. Everyone has gone crazy all week, I guess, now about that compensation package that they're offering. That compensation package is the value of a season pass and a half. Season pass is absurd value. You can win it here. All you have to do is sub, like, and then later this video, I'm going to ask you to make a comment. You make that comment, you are entered to win Iron Patriot. Our spotlight card for 128 is Aries. Aries is a 4/6 on reveal. Compare the power of the top 3 cards of both decks. If your total is higher, plus 6 power. So what Aries fundamentally is he plays war with your opponent. It's going to show what that top 3 is, what the number is, but not the cards for each opponent. So you get to play a little mini war every time you play Aries, which is awesome because he's the god of war. This is super flavorful for what is essentially going to be a big dumb idiots card. It is possible that this goes into some mill decks as a last turn play. On the last turn, if you can drop this and they have no cards, you're pretty likely to win that Aries, right? So if you can win that Aries that way, all of a sudden you can drop a 4-12, or if you played Zabu a 3-12, that has some possibility. But the easiest way to use him is just to play him in your own idiots style list, your own big list. So our friend Gunny T on the channel created a list, I don't know, 6 months ago now. Regis Kilbin and everyone ended up covering it. He called it Big Dumb Idiots. It is the Scar style deck. You more recently saw them as Scar Surtur being everywhere. It's that archetype. Aries will be a mainstay in that deck, is my basic belief, because if you're comparing the top three cards and all your cards have a million power, you are likely to win that comparison. It's also possible Aries goes in that last deck too. The other reason to show that today, if you can figure out how to space it, drop it in. All right, so Aries comes with two other cards, Ms. Marvel and Misery, just like everyone does. And apparently, Ms. Marvel and Misery are both reaching out for you, one punching and one clawing, while Aries is here. So Ms. Marvel is a very cool card. She was once one of the very best cards in Marvel Snap. She is now utter garbage. She is actually nearly unplayable right now. Mr. Fantastic as a Series 1 card is better right now than she is. I don't think she's worth playing. I don't really think she's worth owning or going out of your way for in any way, shape, or form. If you happen to get her, hey, look, card. But I think that she needs some kind of buff because she is way too much work and way too easy to disrupt for what she does at this point in the game. Misery, meanwhile, has several homes. We'll look at one of those homes later this video, but she's got about 3 real homes in Marvel Snap. She's good in Mill, so if you want Mill decks to really work, and you might want that with Aries, then you need Misery. Uh, she's very good in certain types of Phoenix Force lists, so if you're looking for Phoenix Force, Misery kills a card, Phoenix Force can bring it back. It's a little awkward that they have the same cost, but whatever. And then the third real use for Misery is what's the third? Oh, she's good with Hood in some Victoria hand style decks. So if you want her for any of those, she's worth getting. She's great. Is she as good as Moonstone? No. Is she as good as Anti Venom? No. Is she as good as Malekith? No. But she's one tier below them as a very good card. As far as variants go, this Misery looks basically exactly like the base one. Decent-ish Ms. Marvel, and I think this Aries is very cool with the bloody hands and everything. But I there's a very good one just coming in the shop tomorrow. All right, Gods of War. This is the list I will be starting with for Aries. Did I just yeah, okay. I was like, did I not put Aries in it? Yeah, this is the list I will be starting with for Aries because I think this is insane. I think Aries decks, especially I think Aries decks are fundamentally just going to want Quicksilver. And I know that seems weird, right? But you want to be able to be sure you win that war, and you don't want Aries to hit Zabu, Armor, Juggernaut, right? It's still possible that happens, obviously, but you're doing your very best to minimize that. And look at that whole top row 410, 410, 410, 510, 610, 610, right? So that whole top row means you're fairly likely to hit with your Aries, and you just want to do your best to minimize your chances of missing. Because if you miss, you're probably going to lose that game. But if you hit, you're way ahead, right? That's the logic here. Aries for 3 is also pretty good, so you run Zabu, but so is Atuma, Crossbones, or Call Obsidian. Any of those for 3 are amazing and game-changing plays. The only other card here really, I mean, Surtur should get huge. You go Surtur into Aries, right? You now have a 3/7 into I don't know, Arrow, who cares? You have that 3/10. Now you have a free Scar. You can play that free Scar in Heimdall. Or if you played Zabu earlier, you can play that free Scar with like a Call in or Crossbones and be completely stupid. That kind of play does happen here. Or you can go wild and do one of those with Juggernaut to protect the lane or Armor to protect the lane. And that's sort of what this deck does. I am more and more into Heimdall in these lists because it's really hard. If you're playing this on day one, no one else is playing Heimdall, dear friends. They're all stacking up lanes and assuming that they have X amount of power in Y place. You know you have Heimdall. You know that you can sort of steal that extra power. You can steal that win. I think this list is going to go completely crazy when Red Wing comes out next month because Red Wing puts a card from your hand into play when it moves. So I think Red Wing's going to fit amazingly, probably in that Juggernaut spot in this list. But this list right now is where I'm going to start because Arrow and Heimdall give you an element of control, with Juggernaut give you an element of control in this list that's not otherwise there, and I think that it's going to absolutely sing. Trust me, try out Heimdall, but remember you have him as you play your cards. All right, you can find me. This is my brew at twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. This deck needs Zabu, Surtur, Scar, and Cull. I don't think you can actually play it without any of those, although it's worth noting that Starbrand is a card made for this archetype and comes out in March and comes out in a spotlight with Scar. So that's reasonably worth knowing and having access to. Aries is not actually required here and can be Cosmo or Iron Patriot. If Shang doesn't materialize in the meta, I'm changing armor for Iron Patriot. So last time we did this, everyone's like, Shang's going to be everywhere. When Surtur came out and Shang basically got kicked out of the meta basically immediately. So if Shang doesn't show up, I'm turning armor into Iron Patriot or Cosmo basically right away because I think those are better cards for the archetype. One more note as we go. Well, let's go card by card and explain it, and then I'm going to explain some things. So Quicksilver is here because it keeps the more expensive stuff in your deck, and that wouldn't be enough to play it, right? Even with Ares' ability, the other reason is I want to be able to guarantee a Cull Obsidian, and I can always play Cull Obsidian on turn 4 if I have Quicksilver, unless they Killmonger on 3. And I don't know if you know this, but most decks really don't want to Killmonger on 3. It sort of messes up their tempo and messes up a lot of what they're doing to get cheap deaths and stuff. So I think that Quicksilver is a really safe way to both enable Cull and Ares, which are two of the more powerful cards in the deck. Zabu is the other one that this deck desperately wants, and the reason it wants Zabu is because 4s for 3 is amazing. You could run Psylocke if the only point was to get a 4 on 3, though, right? The reason you're running Zabu is, outside of it just fitting into the curve better, is that you can also do like a Crossbones and Cull Obsidian or a Crossbones and a Tomb type play on turn 6 with Zabu, and that's amazing. Armor's here for protection. That's basically it. He costs 1 less than the other protection cards, and thus I'm running him. You can feel free to drop him on Quicksilver if you're worried about playing a Tuma there, or if you're worried about Killmonger so you can't Cull. Juggernaut is almost never a turn 3 play. It is almost always a turn 6 play. Juggernaut's incredibly strong. You have so much power in lanes that if you can say you can't compete in I can go like 40 power in one lane and you can't actually compete in this other lane because I'm going to steal it with Juggernaut, then you win the game. That's fundamentally the use of Juggernaut. He's not required. He is a swing spot. Pick your poison there. If you would prefer Shadow King or whatever else, feel free. Surtur, get big. Again, we established that Surtur can be a 13 power card or more, 13 or 16 power card. It is fairly likely to be a 310. 310 is stupidly good stats. Surtur did not get much worse when it was nerfed from 3.5 to 3.4, and thus it is worth playing. Aries is great. You don't want Aries to be your 4 on 4. You want Aries to be your 4 on 5 or 6, just in case your opponent has Shadow King. Shadow King can mess up your stuff. But if you play Aries on either 5 or 6, and ideally he costs 3 if you're playing him on 5, right? You can play him with armor on turn 5 or him with Quicksilver on turn 5. They can't Shadow King you before he discounts your Scar. If you play him on 4 or 3, as the case may be, and then they do Shadow King him, then all of a sudden you're left with a 4/6 that doesn't discount Scar. So you'd rather play any of the other 4/10s before Aries, but because he's a 4/12, his stats are still worth running, and because Typhoid Mary has become sort of annoying to run with the -2. Atuma's great in this list. He's the other 4 you want to avoid running. Anything like a Polaris can really make Atuma mess with you, but he's big, right? Big numbers good, and he helps you deal with junk bullshit as well. So Atuma is a very big, good card, but it is one that you want to be careful with. He is the only other card besides Ares, I think, that you really do want to be like at all careful with here. Crossbones is a nice, easy play on 4. Given what you have, you're fairly likely to be ahead somewhere. If you're ahead anywhere, Crossbones does the job. Cull Obsidian is another big idiot on play on Quicksilver or Zabu. We are again making him more consistent by playing Quicksilver. And if we play him on Quicksilver, we're fairly likely to be heading that lane, which means we can Crossbones there on 5 as required. Arrow is one of the very, very few 5/10s in Marvel Snap, and she offers you a piece of disruption. You can often use Arrow to pull out a power piece from where they want. In a Moonstone meta, when Moonstone's everywhere, being able to do that is extraordinarily strong. Having the ability to do that can either clog the opponent or mess up one of their combos in very meaningful ways. From there, we have Heimdall, who is our big cube winner. Opponents should be running against this list, and they're going to be like, I can go taller than you in these 2 lanes. But with Heimdall as the surprise card, they don't know what those 2 lanes are. Between Heimdall and Juggernaut, good luck playing around both. It's near impossible. If you can read that, you should be able to cruise with this list. Meanwhile, Scar's 2 or 0/10. That's good stats. All right. So turn 1, you want Zabu over Quicksilver. Turn 2, Zabu over Armor. Turn 3, Surtur over a 4-drop, over a 2-drop, and you'll still happily Zabu here. Turn 4 is pick a 4. Atuma and Ares are the worst on early turns. Turn 5, Arrow. Um, is better than a 4, but a Zabud 4 plus armor is better than air. So if you can at this point play like a crossbones and armor, that's better than playing air. Scar and Heimdall or Scar and Juggernaut armor is how you end the game. Cool. That's it. This list also gets more cards next month, so if you can save up for Thunderbolt Ross, who when your opponent passes with no energy, will draw you a 10 power card. That's pretty good for this list. Passes with, sorry, any extra energy, basically the high evolutionary, sorry, or Red Hulk ability. If your opponent does that, then he's going to draw you a 10 power card. That seems really good for this list. And then we've also, on top of that, we're getting the 6 a billion, whatever the stupid card is, Starbrand, the month after that, excuse me. And all that means that this can really sing. Next up, we're going to take a look at a werewolf deck, but one last look at this. Catch me playing this on stream at about 6:30 p.m. Eastern today, because I'm going to be playing all the different Aries lists tonight on stream at 6:30 p.m. So if you want to see this list in action, come check me out. Hey, it's me. That's where you can find me. Thanks. All right. If you would like to win a season pass, you answer the simple question in the comments. Are you opening this week? The right answer is waiting to see uh, how good this card is at the end of the week, and only if you have 4 keys, but that might not be your answer. What is your answer to are you opening this week? And this is a good point to say what I say every week when we talk about the new card. We don't review the card once here. We review the card on 3 different occasions. So on Thursday's video, I'm going to have a bunch of top players give their thoughts on the card. Then I will look at stats with that on Friday, and on Friday I will be able to give you a statistically informed, personal experience informed, and top player informed weekend mission guide. Weekend missions mean the card gets played a lot more, and then we have a real sample size. And in either Sunday or Monday's video, I do a last chance review. So please wait as long as possible. There is no reason to buy a card before Friday unless you absolutely must have it. Cool. All right. Buddy's Wolf. Buddy was like, this feels like Loki Werewolf. Um, Not at high infinite. I played this at high infinite and I didn't think so. I have very little doubt that if you are playing this for infinite or if you're in like middle infinite, this deck is going to absolutely sing for you. I don't think if you're high infinite, this is going to be a meta deck for you, but it is quite good. It's worth noting here that locations if you sorry it's worth noting here, that's what I wanted to say, lost my train of thought for 1 sec. It's worth noting here that if you've never played werewolf before, this should not be where you start. This is an experienced werewolf player's deck. If you've played werewolf for ages and you just are like, oh man, I really missed that card and I want to play it again, you will have fun with this, you will win with this. If this is your first werewolf deck, werewolf takes a while to learn. It is one of the harder cards to manage positioning with. You can find Buddy at youtube.com/@BuddySnap. He has a video up for this exact deck if you want to see gameplay. This deck needs Werewolf, Kate Bishop, and Victoria. Did I write? Yeah, Victoria Hand. For a second, I was like Valentina. Gore can be Devil Dino because you fill your hand. Spider Ham can be Iceman. Iron Patriot can be Raj, and Red Guardian can be Rogue. So people are going wild for this. If you check Buddy's comments, everyone absolutely loves this list. Again, at High Infinite, this was not it for me, but I can easily see why this would be effective anywhere else. Turn 1, anyone is fine. Mind your hand space if you're going to play Snowguard early. Turn 2, Iron Patriot is better than Kate, is better than Victoria Hand. Turn 3, Werewolf, you just need to get Werewolf out over a 2+1. Turn 4, Werewolf and 1, or you can play Victoria Hand and Kate. Turn 5, you want to play some 1s and then bounce them with Beasts so they cost 0. And then you can play the free 1s and Gore, or you can play Juggernaut and a bunch of 1s and then drop like a Victoria Hand. Cool. This is really, really simple, really, really effective, very powerful. After this, Misery Loves Campany. Get it, Cam? All right, hey, there's a collector's bundle in the shop. Longtime viewers will know. 172% is average. That is the bundle where they're giving us like something worth looking at as average if we really want to variant or something. 200% is a good buy, and 220% is an excellent buy. We've almost never seen them give things like 247%. It really might be a new day for them in terms of the sort of value and offers they're giving us. I'm starting to get very hopeful about this, but we'll talk more about that later. For the time being, though, if you're in the market for 6,000 tokens and 5,000 gold, and remember, the Anti-Venom bundle coming next month is 4,500 gold, and it gives you Anti-Venom and the best value they've ever given for gold. If you want that bundle, I would strongly urge you to buy this. Next up, we have one last look at Buddy Wolf. Why did I put that in the wrong spot? We'll never know. All right, Stream Team, please check out our friends streaming these decks. Prashant will be streaming at 12 p.m. Eastern today. Please note that he won't be testing the new card yet because that doesn't come out for 2 more hours, but please check out him testing these other decks. KM Mill. So we featured the Crime Afoot Mill deck. Cam Best featured an updated version on one of his channels, and everyone is playing this. This has become one of the very most popular decks in all of Marvel Snap right now. I'm seeing it almost as much as like Move Bounce at this point. It is a everywhere deck, and when there's a new everywhere deck, we have to recover it and relook at it to make sure that you're ready for it. I think Cam made one very big mistake that Crime Afoot did not in this. Crime Afoot has Lady Deathstrike in this list. I'm seeing people running a lot of Black Bolt. I think this list is significantly worse without Lady Deathstrike because there's a lot of Victoria Hand, there's a lot of Bullseye, and being able to get rid of those cards is absolutely game-winning, snap-worthy power while that synergizes with Death. I recognize what Cam's doing in cutting it, but I think this is the wrong meta for that. And I did check the stats on Untapped at High Infinite, and the stats agree with me. So if you have Lady Deathstrike should probably be here over I would guess over Cable. Cable is like really your swing spot. Like Cable and Cable, Shang-Chi, Red Guardian are your swing spots here. All right, so you can find Cam talking about this at youtube.com/@CamBest in a snap. But this is a take on Crime Afoot's deck, twitch.tv/CrimeAfoot. Crime Afoot made this meta as he climbed to like the top 20 with it. This deck needs Gladiator, Fenris, and Misery. Zemo can be Juggernaut, Iron Patriot can be Shadow King or whatever. Please, again, if you have Lady Deathstrike, add Lady Deathstrike. This is one of the most played decks, again. So turn 1, you want Yondu, generally speaking, over Hood, unless you have a very clear curve and you know you're not going to be able to fit in Hood later, and you know you're going to be able to get rid of that Hood with Misery or Killmonger. Turn 2, you want Iron Patriot over Cable. Cable and Fenris is basically equal, pending hand. If you know you have Destroy, you know your opponent's going to be walking into Destroy, then maybe Fenris is better. But getting Fenris out early leaves it open to Red Guardian, so, pick your poison. Turn 3, you want Gladiator over Baron Zemo. You're generally speaking, Gladiator is really good at getting your Iron Patriot off, for the record. Turn 4, you want to go 2+2. This is a good point, too. If you played Iron Patriot, go Cable and Fenris. You can also drop your other 3. If you played Gladiator, you can play Misery. You can also Misery on top of a pile of cards at Yondu, Hood, Cable. People over-index on that. If you go Yondu, Cable, and then you play Misery on top of those 2 cards, you mill them out, which is pretty nice. Turn 5, assumed you played Gladiator. Turn 5, you want Hood and Misery. You just drop Hood and Misery directly on top of it. Very powerful, gives you 2 Hoods for the last turn. Or you can play Killmonger and a 2-drop. Your goal in the last turn is Death and Shang, but you can also play Death and a bunch of demons and so on, and then win the game that way. Really powerful list. Does not have very many bad matchups. Props to Crime Afoot and Cam for this one. Just you need to know this list for real, for real. All right, questions of the day. Ligature Marks asks about Snap optimism. Hearing Ligs says more people lately have been really positive about the game, given the since the game went down and came back up. Part of it is the generosity of their of the return package that they're giving it to the whole world. Part of it is that they're doing the daily shop thing now. Or if you don't know this, you can go to marvelsnap.com, and if you click marvelsnap.com, go to the shop, log into the shop, and then you scroll down. Every day you can get credits up, which should average out to something like 700 or more credits a week, which is wild. And they've just given us this great bundle. There's a lot of optimism. And I think all of the things I mentioned are part of why. Also, they're divesting from the publisher, and everyone thinks the publisher is part of what the negatives for Snap were. I get all of this. I'm going to tell you a secret. I don't really think that's why people are really optimistic. I think part of the optimism is that when Snap went away, everyone was reminded how much they liked it and how much they missed it and how much work they went to get to play it. And it sort of made, like, I think all of that's part of it, right? All the things I mentioned are part of it, but also people were sort of reminded by it almost going away how much they love Marvel Snap, which is a really good place for a game to be. I'm enjoying this new era of Snap optimism, and I hope Secondary can keep it going. They're eventually going to mess up, but hey, they're on a hot streak. Let's keep it going. Endman 004 asked my least favorite Marvel movie, and this is really, really simple for me. There's not a lot of bad ones. There's a few bad ones. I really, really hated the most recent Doctor Strange movie, for example. My least favorite Marvel movie is very easily Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So I started reading the new era of Guardians when Annihilation and Annihilation Conquest came out, and I really loved them. And the first Guardians movie made them mainstream, and it was annoying that Bendis turned the characters into like a little bit too much of the movies, and like it started to really push it apart. But Guardians 2 made them all jokes, and the movie was absolutely a terrible, terrible movie. It was literally one of my least favorite movies I've ever seen. It made me angry, and it's the only Marvel movie that's ever made me angry. Several others have made me bored, have made me roll my eyes, but Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is my least favorite MCU movie. As far as like least favorite Marvel movies, I mean, like there's Madam Web and like Dark Phoenix and stuff, which are a whole different level of bad, right? Like Dark Phoenix was unwatchable. Whatever, what is it called? X-Men Phoenix? Whatever. You know what movie I'm talking about, right? The last of that run. That was unfreaking watchable bad. Madam Web was unwatchably bad. That's a different level, but as far as MCU, I think Guardians 2, like that Guardians 3 is good, was a freaking miracle after the I absolutely hated Guardians 2. My unpopular opinion, the one I liked but didn't love as much as everyone, is Thor Ragnarok. Um, I just didn't. It had its moments, but like it was just a little too silly for me. And like everyone's reaction to the one after was much closer to my reaction to Ragnarok. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with honor. Thanks. I'm going to say thank you to a bunch of people. We're going to say thank you to and it is now late as I look at the time. So that's how we decide how quickly we do this, by the way. I look at the names and then I look at the time and I go, uh-oh. So thank you to Abigail Geese, Manager Burnout, Eric Ellis, David G. Wingfield, Dirty Casual, LAB, Fowler Newman, Inc., I Am Frostman, Hota Navarrete, YOLO Potato, Thinking Poker, Primed Ryan, Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood, Timeout, Primed Ryan is sponsoring Snap Judgments League Season 5. Make sure you check out Primed Ryan and the Prime Mind app. Caretix Lee, Koire, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, welcome back. I need to fix that name. Welcome back, Black Dahlia, missed ya. Pyrofrost, the Goat Seeker, Hot Load, Only Fox, Synth, what's up, Synth? Quid Pro Joe, Snap Decision, Frat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle, Gables, Ginger Prime, Philip Rakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Jason, Rob Silverman, The Notorious Biz, The Black Jeebus 23, Exorcy Skippy G, Jessica Campbell, Slush Death, The King of Bros, Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Kevzy Oda, Luna, Chris, Corwin, John Q, Jimmy Q, Clam, Colonel Forbin, Get Stout, 8 Sage, Models, Mod Supreme, Green Goblin, Unibot, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B, M. Holland joining Real Name Town, The Fuzzy Dunlop, Spectrum X, Hoot, Matt H. Excuse me, Matt V. Matt H. DJ. I'm going to have to flip those two. DJ, Mikey, Hijinks, No Frickin' Flex, Ocularis, Mr. Cricksterry, BG, Zodrex, The King of Canada, Demman Falcon, Jonesy, The Great Two Ties, Laura Devs, The Pirate King Tucker, and of course, Gunny T, where T stands for. Thank you very much for watching this whole video. Hit that sub button if you got here, out and check out the great videos to my left, well, to the left and right of the big Snap Judgment sign. See you tomorrow for more Snap Take. I promise we'll have something cool and different for Aries. Peace.